Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother Bolo VNR, and we're here with another reaction. I want you guys to like and share the video. Thank you very much. Alright, let's go to this article. It says Jamaica to tighten laws on Molly and other synthetic drugs amid rising seizures. Rising seizures. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, watch your children. Pray for them. Don't do drugs.
Iglina classifieds mobile apps. Jamaica is to get tougher on tackling synthetic drugs such as Mali as it seeks to combat drug trafficking. The government is to modernize Jamaica's drug laws to address the issue. The matter was among those discussed at last Thursday's meeting of the National Security Council, which is chaired by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. A government statement indicated that the council approved recommendations to modernize Jamaica's drug laws by bringing new psychoactive substances, commonly known as synthetic or designer drugs, within the scope of existing legislation. It said the decision follows an increase in the seizure of synthetic drugs, including substances marketed as Mali. The government said the move is intended to ensure that Jamaica's legal framework keeps pace with rapidly evolving narcotics. Synthetic drugs represent one of the fastest growing threats to citizen security and public health, said Holness. Criminal organizations continually modify these substances to evade the law. Our legislation must evolve just as rapidly to ensure Jamaica has the legal tools necessary to protect our people, particularly our young people. The government said it will amend the relevant legislation to enable emerging psychoactive substances to be rapidly designated and controlled before they become established in Jamaica.
This is a good thing, but it's like 7 years too late. They should have been done that. They should have been done that. You understand? Letter of the day. Patching potholes not enough. We must understand why roads fail. Alright. Let's read, ladies and gentlemen. Let us read. Whoa.
The editor, Madam. Anyone who drives on Jamaica's roads has likely experienced the frustration of seeing the same pothole repaired more than once. A few months later, or sometimes after a heavy shower of rain, it reappears. This raises an important question: are we addressing the underlying causes of road deterioration or only repairing the visible damage? Before a pothole is repaired, it is useful to ask why the road failed. Was poor drainage allowing water to weaken the pavement? Was the road constructed on unstable ground? Has heavy truck traffic exceeded the road's design capacity? Or has the pavement simply reached the end of its service life? Understanding the cause of failure helps engineers select the most appropriate repair method. Where the underlying problem is identified and addressed, repairs are more likely to last longer and provide better value for money. If the root cause is not identified, repairs may provide only temporary improvement while the underlying problem remains. Road maintenance is about more than filling potholes. Each damaged section of road provides valuable information that can help improve future designs, maintenance practices, construction methods, and material selection. This process is often described as organizational learning, where experience and evidence are used to improve future decisions. By investigating failures, documenting their causes, and applying the lessons learned to future projects, road agencies can continually strengthen maintenance programs and improve the long-term performance of the road network. As Jamaica continues to invest in its road infrastructure, understanding the causes of pavement deterioration can help ensure that maintenance resources are used effectively and that investments deliver the greatest possible long-term value. The public benefits from roads that are safer, more durable, and provide good value for money. A pothole is more than a defect in the pavement. It is also an opportunity to understand how and why the road deteriorated. By learning from each failure before carrying out repairs, we can support better maintenance decisions and contribute to a stronger and more resilient road network for the future.
Common sense, but I don't know if the Jamaica Labour Party is going to apply such common sense. You understand? But let's go to the next article. Government to undertake program to target trauma violence in Hurricane Melissa affected areas. Let's read, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read.
Government to undertake program to target trauma, violence in Hurricane Melissa affected areas. 1 minute read. The government is to provide greater psychosocial support to families in several Hurricane Melissa affected communities amid increasing psychological trauma, domestic violence, and interpersonal conflict. The decision was taken at a meeting of the National Security Council, which is chaired by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The meeting was held last Thursday. A government statement said the council reviewed evidence of increasing psychological trauma, domestic violence, and interpersonal conflict in several Hurricane Melissa affected communities. The statement did not provide specific details. The government indicated that the council approved the development of a coordinated national program to expand trauma counseling, community mental health services, family intervention programs, and violence prevention initiatives in the most affected areas. Holness said the government remains committed to supporting families that are still recovering. Recovery is not measured only by the number of homes rebuilt or roads repaired. We must also heal the invisible wounds left by disaster. Addressing trauma is essential to restoring families, strengthening communities, and preventing violence from taking root in the aftermath of crisis.
This is PR, this is fluff. Ladies and gentlemen, what is causing the trauma is the lack of help that the government has given to the most vulnerable. The people have been left in the type of environments that, it doesn't matter how resilient they are to wake up and look around and remember the trauma that you faced. People supposed to have PTSD because of it look the same. The tarpaulins, it's there, it's all reminders. But he talk about giving greater support for trauma. How about preventing the trauma and lessening the trauma and raising up people's spirits by helping them to put a roof over their head? I'm telling you, that would be a great antidote and a great pill to lessen the trauma from these people so they can come to some type of normality. You understand? Speaking about coming back to normality, the People's National Party representatives that are not the government and don't have the government resources have been doing this since the hurricane with the little resources that they have to their disposal. The kitchen that became a home, 71-year-old and 71-year-old onto home 9 months after the storm. So this is one of the victims of the government, ladies and gentlemen. Right? This man is one of the victims of the government. 9 months after the storm, his roof, his kitchen became his home. Let me go to the clip right here. The pictures right here, I'll show you. See? Here it is. See? And this man has a walker. He walk with a walker. And this is the thing I'm talking about. Nobody is saying that the government will be able to help everybody in 9 months. But why is it that you're not focusing on the most vulnerable people? This man, his man have a walking stick, him 71-year-old, for crying out loud. There's too many cases of this coming up in the news. And you know what they say? If there's whatever amount that's coming in the news, you can guarantee say it's more than 300% more that's actually out there. Unfortunately, because most people don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to see them in the States, so they suffer in silence. So Andrew talk about trauma, These people are suffering in silence, and the government have money that them sit down upon and don't use it all now. And people want to make excuses for these evil, wicked people. I'm not gonna tolerate it on my platform, you know. Anybody will make excuse to the government, me a black on them. Straight. Me a black on the regime. You understand? This is foolishness. Let's read a little bit of the article, ladies and gentlemen, because it's long. I don't want
Edgar Bruce makes his way out the church, climbing down a ledge. Western Bureau. The neatly made bed occupies one side of the kitchen at the empty Matthew's Church of the Nazarene in Logood, Shrewsbury, Westmoreland. On the other are cupboards, pots and cooking utensils. It is an unlikely bedroom, but for the past 9 months, it has been home to 71-year-old Edgar Bruce, whose house collapsed during the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Each night, Bruce, who lost his right leg to diabetes and is blind in one eye, settles into the modest space that members of the congregation quietly surrendered after the devastating storm swept away the home they had built for him. "I didn't save anything," Bruce recalled softly.
So not only did he lose, not only does he have a leg, but he's blind in one eye. Who is doing the assessments to the roof program? Why are so many of these people? Why wasn't there a targeted approach for the most vulnerable? Yes, take the names of everybody else, but focus on the most vulnerable. Use the people and the council of them. Work with the opposition like they had asked. Go out. Hire people. Get the job done so you get the full assessment of everybody. And then you filter the most vulnerable and get them the help right away. If you guys had done that as the government, I would have minimal criticism, you know. And there's no way you can tell me that persons that have PhDs and all of these things, that what? My brain doesn't work more than them. And we've been saying this for months. And a man like Colin Bell has been giving these, a lot of vloggers have been pouring in ideas. And the government has been careless and just uncaring and evil towards the people of Jamaica. Right? I mean, I don't want to go more in that article because, trust me, the man said I didn't. Why me tell you, man? Yo.
Softly. Just a bed alone, and it was all over in water. His survival was nothing short of miraculous. As torrential rain and hurricane force winds battered the rural community last October, Bruce remained inside his small wooden house until it became clear it could no longer withstand Melissa's fury. Sensing the danger, he called to a nephew who lived nearby in a concrete house. The rescue came just in time. His nephew pulled him to safety moments before the house crashed to the ground. "As we come out, the building just fell," Bruce said, still sounding amazed months later. Nothing inside could be salvaged. The following day, after briefly staying with his nephew, Bruce made the slow journey with his walker to the nearby church, where dozens of residents had sought refuge from the storm. All eventually returned home. Bruce never did. Today, the kitchen has become his bedroom. His bed occupies one section of the room, while the cupboards and cooking area remain on the other. During church functions, members have largely taken meal preparation outside rather than disturb the elderly congregant whose circumstances have made the room his home. Contrary to suggestions that the church wants him to leave, Minister Jacqueline Clark said the congregation has continued to support Bruce while recognizing his desire to return to his own home. The church had built him a house already with a bathroom, and Melissa come and blow it down, Clark explained. She said members had helped him begin rebuilding after the hurricane, but like Bruce, many families in Logood were themselves struggling to recover. Recalling the devastation. "Every board house in here was flat," she said, recalling the devastation Hurricane Melissa inflicted on the farming community. Even concrete houses lost their roofs, leaving residents with little capacity to assist others despite their willingness to do so. Everybody loved him, Clark added. Everybody would want to help. Community member Pansy, who has known Bruce for years, said the church has continued to accommodate him without complaint, even though his presence means the kitchen can no longer function as it once did. She described Bruce as an industrious man who spent much of his life driving taxis, doing construction work, then taking on carpentry jobs. He was a handyman for himself, she said. Bruce confirmed her account, explaining that before diabetes changed his life, he earned a living wherever work could be found. I was a driver, taxi driver, and I used to do construction work, he said. When one is slow, I move to another just to make a living. Years of diabetes eventually claimed his right leg. He also lost the sight in his left eye. Devastating blow. Then came another devastating blow. His son, the one person helping him build his home, was killed in a motor vehicle crash. The one that was my heartbeat, Bruce said quietly. He was the one that helped me in the beginning of making the house. Without him, rebuilding became almost impossible. Today, the frame of Bruce's new house stands on the same property where Melissa destroyed the last one. Friends and neighbors have donated some materials, while volunteers have managed to raise sections of the structure. But there the work stopped. Bruce still needs lumber, capping, plywood and other materials before a roof can be completed and the house made habitable. His greatest frustration, however, is not simply the lack of building supplies. Has received nothing. Bruce said he registered for government assistance after the hurricane, providing officials with the required information and identification documents. Yet months later, he says he has received nothing after reportedly being told there had been a problem related to GPS information in the system. Until his circumstances change, everyday tasks remain an exercise in determination. Armed with his walker, Bruce makes the journey to the main road whenever he needs to catch public transportation to medical appointments or other errands. Drivers help lift the walker into vehicles before returning it to him when he reaches his destination. Despite everything he has lost, his home, his leg, his eyesight, his son and his livelihood, Bruce has not lost his faith. Every Wednesday, he joins the church's fasting service. I get more from fasting service than even the regular service on a Sunday, he said. I always love fasting. His story has already begun to stir compassion beyond the hills of Logood. United States-based Jamaican philanthropist Anthony Turner, organizer of the annual Vibes in the Poconos event in Pennsylvania, has pledged $50,000 Jamaican towards the purchase of building materials to help with the rebuilding effort. Turner, whose ninth staging of the event was held on July 9, said the contribution was simply the right thing to do. This was the least I could do, he said. I hope when others read about his plight they will respond. It is obvious Bruce is not a lazy man, he was industrious before his illness. For Bruce, whose bed still occupies one corner of the empty Matthew's Church of the Nazarene's kitchen, every sheet of plywood and every piece of lumber now represents something more than a building material. It represents the possibility that, after surviving Hurricane Melissa and spending 9 months sleeping in borrowed space, he may finally find his way home.
I'm glad I read the article. So the article also confirms that the man got nothing from the government. Something about GPS problems. Really? You see, this is what I'm talking about, you know. This is what I'm talking about. It's very frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you. It burns my soul. I'm telling you. On the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the People's National Party, you know, these things don't really get talked about a lot, but I want to big up the Rasta from St. James, you know. He never win him seat, you know. New home, new hope for single father and twin. Let's read. Let's read, ladies and gentlemen.
Iglina classifieds mobile apps. Western Bureau. 9 months after Hurricane Melissa destroyed several homes in Flanker, St. James, a United States-based philanthropic organization has stepped forward, investing thousands of US dollars to help vulnerable residents rebuild their homes. One of the beneficiaries of the Grassroots Community Foundation's generosity is Theodore Notice, who became a single father raising twin boys after their mother died. Earlier this year, he received the keys to a one-bedroom, concrete studio apartment, replacing the one-room board house he lost to the Category 5 hurricane. In an interview with the Gleaner on Friday, Notice recalled the emotional toll of losing his home and all its contents. "To be honest, it was devastating. It was traumatizing," he said. "I was wondering if I would be able to take the next step or the next move in rebuilding a roof over my head." Notice, who works in construction and also does part-time interior cleaning services, said his greatest concern in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane was the well-being of his children, not the furniture he managed to salvage. However, after receiving the keys to his new home as the first beneficiary of the Grassroots Community Foundation's housing initiative, he is now looking to the future with optimism. "It's heartwarming. It's a good feeling," said Notice, who explained that the new concrete home has given his family a sense of security that was lacking in their previous dwelling. "Yes, I do feel much safer now in this concrete home." The Grassroots Community Foundation, led by Jamaica-born sociologist Dr. Janice Johnson-Diaz, plans to construct 10 homes for families whose houses were destroyed by the hurricane. "We can't ask people to focus on literacy if they don't have places to live," said Johnson-Diaz, whose foundation is also heavily invested in education.
You can't expect to help people with trauma if they don't have a roof over their head. And that goes back to the article when we read for Andrew Holness. And you know, oh boy, man, I tell you, say, this guy, man, this guy. Oh, this guy is something else. Recovery is not measured by only the number of homes rebuilt and roads repaired. We must also heal the invisible wounds left by the disaster. Brother, you have to start with the household by people ahead. You have to start with the house over the people's head. I tell you, yeah, man. Let's continue. Over there. Right, us.
Education. Our literacy work in Flanker was interrupted by the hurricane, so rebuilding homes became the immediate priority. 5-year investment. The housing initiative forms part of the Foundation's broader 5-year investment in St. James, which includes literacy programs, renovations to the St. James Parish Library, and a girls' leadership development program. According to Johnson-Diaz, Notice's family was selected as the first recipient largely because he is a single parent raising 2 young boys. Very soon those boys will be teenagers. If they do not have a safe place to live and their father remains under that kind of pressure, they become vulnerable to the very social problems we are trying to prevent, she said. The construction of each house costs approximately $50,000 US, covering construction, labor, and finishing costs. 7 of the 10 homes are expected to be completed before the first anniversary of Hurricane Melissa in October. However, Johnson-Diaz acknowledged that the remaining 3 homes, which are to be constructed in a rugged area known as Cuba, present a greater challenge because of the terrain and the larger number of residents requiring accommodation. The last 3 homes are going to cost more because of the labor involved and the difficult location. Funding will determine how quickly we can complete those, she said, noting that a fundraising campaign is planned for later this year. Johnson-Diaz said the foundation deliberately selected families with multiple children in order to maximize the impact of the intervention. We wanted to support the families that were most vulnerable and where rebuilding would make the greatest difference to children's lives, she explained. Although many of the homes are located on captured land, Johnson-Diaz said the foundation proceeded on the understanding that beneficiaries would continue working with the relevant authorities to regularize their tenure. Our role is simply to provide safe shelter, she said. We expect residents to comply with whatever legal processes are required. This is our gift to them, but the responsibility for resolving land issues remains theirs.
Can you imagine if the government come lick down their house there? Because they never on government, man. Remember, so they never on rampage forward here. But let's continue. Again, causing trauma.
Theirs. The housing program is funded primarily through donations from supporters in the United States, supplemented by contributions from organizations including the Idris Elba Foundation and the Black Lives Matter Foundation. Johnson Diaz, who was born in Retreat, St. Mary, said the project reflects her belief that lasting community transformation requires sustained investment rather than short-term disaster relief. Many organizations come in after a disaster and leave. We recognize that if you truly want to change communities, you have to stay, she said. Johnson Diaz also stated that while the housing initiative addresses immediate needs, the foundation will continue investing in literacy by strengthening programs in Flanker, supporting the rehabilitation of the St. James Parish Library, and expanding opportunities for children through reading, leadership development, and digital literacy. The future of Jamaica depends on investing in young people, she said. Providing safe homes gives families stability. From there, children can begin to dream, to read, to learn, and to build a different future.
Big up Johnson Diaz, yeah, man. Seeing, and big up the Mr. Allen Bernard. Seeing there in a picture with the people, them. Yeah, man. Big them up, man. Holy for respect and manners. Glad for them, you know. This is where them are come from. And this is where they're at. You understand? At least a solid roof over their head. That is the greatest. Alright? Now, Zulika, just ladies and gentlemen, has also impacted her constituency, and also Miss Heather Miller. Mrs. Heather Miller. Check this out. I'm not sure about the music, so a container home here was presented to them. This family that also lost everything. You know what I mean? See the baby there, see the, you know, people I'm grateful that we not really hear not what them I say, just the music and the beat. Still some retrofitting to do, but much better than the situation that they were in. And you know, knowing the people, they're more than likely to build upon this as time goes by. So big up the partners, them big up Miss Heather Miller Bennett. Alright, Mrs. Heather Miller Bennett, big her up. And you know, with the limited resources again, the People's National Party continue. The members continue to put their best foot forward for the people. Here's another video. This one is from Zulika, just ladies and gentlemen.
So today we are in Gostown. This is house number 6 that I am actually having delivered. So in the roughly 6 months since I've been member of parliament, we have managed to deliver 6 homes. So 6 in 6. That is more than some people have delivered in their 5 years. So the truth is, a lot of people talk about action, or some people talk about action. But this right here, this is action, not a bag of mouth. This is progress.
He cleared every shadow around me.
Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. Shots fired. Shots fired. One Zulika just, never two. And you see our team, Mr. Elder, they were beside her. Remember me tell you. And them say panic ground. So, pray for good MP, them ladies and gentlemen, and the people in St. Elizabeth again, you see. I all around Jamaica. You see, if you not engage and I entertain witchcraft, you know, see some this is here, I'm going to repent. Because, no matter how good an MP is, an MP can't go save you. You hear me say? And ladies and gentlemen, just for just for the fun of it, check this out.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
So Zulika just with the new haircut, ladies and gentlemen. Only know me stay, me love me MP them. Me want them where I do the work. You understand? And Zulika just is definitely one of those standout MPs. And you see her with the new haircut? Yes. Big up Zulika just, ladies and gentlemen. Me love her either way, hair cut or hair long. Big up yourself, your mama. She said in the caption here that in politics you quickly learn to carry everyone's expectation, fears and demands. Somewhere along the way you forget yourself. This haircut is more than a change in style. It is a slow, quiet step back to myself. It is a reminder that I am allowed to shed dead weight, set new boundaries and step away from things that jeopardize peace. It is about having the courage to also choose yourself, even while choosing others. So, yes, MP and all the other MPs. So now we have to do that. We have to take care of ourselves because we don't want to go break down in the mat. Very important. In my first 6 months as MP, I delivered 6 houses to persons in need. I don't always post and publish, but I am always working for you. Congratulations to Cooley from Grovestown on receiving this house. The work continues. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this again solidifies my point. Splash, did you big up yourself? This again solidifies my point about working with the MPs, ladies and gentlemen. Right? If you work with the MPs, then you will be able to ascertain and target the most vulnerable with precision, especially the MPs that are working hard in their constituency and the councillor them. You cannot separate and do things on your own as the government in a crisis and then expect that there isn't going to be gaps and loopholes in the effectiveness of the effort. In this case, it has just been a poor effort by the government and it is on purpose. They did it on purpose, ladies and gentlemen. They sure did. Alright? And if you don't believe me, I'm going to continue to play this clip right here for the people.
The word of the Lord. Hear the word of the Lord, Jamaica. Hear the word of the Lord. The plan is to make things as difficult as possible for the people by not supporting them in any serious, significant, or sustainable way, with the hope that in frustration they would move away and go somewhere, go live with their family, find somewhere else, so that they would not have the problem or the responsibility to relocate them. So it's a waiting game. I hear the Lord saying it's a waiting game. So yes, you touch a little there and you touch a little there. Nothing significant. Nothing sustainable. And the hope is that with the hardship, with the difficulty, and the nigh impossible situations that would confront the people, they would leave in frustration. Can't bother. Just pack up whatever little they have, and most have lost everything. And whatever little they have, it is damaged. But they would just pack up and just go somewhere. Pack up and maybe itch up with family, itch the area. so that those communities, those areas would be left vacant so the authorities can take them over. Hear the word of the Lord. But I'm here to say today that that strategy is not going to work. The Lord is going to allow it to blow up in their faces, and God is also going to judge them as a result of it.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It is intentional, thus saith the Lord. Andrew Holness' government is doing this on purpose. They want to frustrate the people so the people just leave their property, leave their homes, and can't bother talking about the government to undertake program to target trauma violence in Hurricane Melissa, as if they care about the people. Hypocrites. He's a hypocrite, ladies and gentlemen. And God is revealing the ugly truth. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. The word is love.